What's happening, good people? Welcome back to another edition of Riot Starter TV, your favorite program on the planet. You know what I mean? Thank me later. We have it's a marvelous week. I feel like I've been interviewing folks for decades or whatever. Just this 1 week alone, we've had some very dynamic guests. Actually, in the last 2 weeks, everybody from Juliana Lumumba, daughter of Patrice Lumumba, to former U.S. Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney, to Dr. Greg Carr, Dr. T. Owens Moore, and we even got in an interview this week from Mumia Abu-Jamal. So if you missed that interview, make sure you go to the channel and check out Mumia. What's the call? The call is free them all, and we're going to keep on fighting on behalf of political prisoners. Tonight is no different. I want to keep it consistent, and I want to bring in some of the best, some of the folks who you need to know when we talk about political education. You know what I mean? So this particular guest I have is all the way from France. She works on the issues of international law. She chairs the Frantz Fanon Foundation. She's a member of the Scientific Council of ATAC France. She is the former expert chair of the working group on people of African descent with the United Nations, and she's worked as a professor on all different types of levels. I want to welcome you today to our comrade and serious worker out there all over the globe. I want to introduce you to Mireille Fanon Mendès-France. How you doing, Mireille?
I'm fine, Kalonji. Hello, everybody.
Yes. We're happy to have you. I'm glad to get the opportunity to rock with you for a while. You know, I know you're a very busy woman these days, you know, so we definitely are grateful to have you on. I want to start off the evening by asking you to, we have a very wide range audience. We have folks from all over the continent, all over the planet, and we have all types of ages, different political backgrounds and beliefs. So for those few people who live on the planet Earth who don't know who Mireille Fanon Mendès-France is, can you give us a little bit about yourself and what brought you into the human rights struggle?
Yes, but I think you said the principle. I don't have something to add. I am from France, Martinique. That's all, and I have nothing to add.
Right on.
I'm not chair. I'm not anymore chair. I'm co-chair of the Frantz Fanon Foundation now.
Okay.
And still working on the same issue you underline, and that's all.
Okay. Now, I know that you are the former expert chair of the working group of people of African descent with the United Nations. How did that particular group come about, and how did you get involved?
How
did you get involved? How did it start?
Okay. I have one thing first to say. When there is the opportunity to be expert for this working group, I was not ready to do, because I have some concern with the functioning of UN and the paradox of the UN. And I was not, objectively, I was not ready to apply. But a certain person told me, but you have to do, because you are a very critical thinking on the UN, and it could help, and we need something strong. And that's why I have decided to apply. And it's very, very simple. You have to apply with different forms. And after that, there is a group of state representatives, and they decide if yes or not. And they said yes for me. But in certain sense, I was not expecting anything different from what I have to leave when I was working at the UNESCO, long time ago before. And I was, at the moment, I was a very optimistic and very young person and with a lot of ideal. And after some months, I fall down very, very quickly because it did not correspond to what I was expecting. And it is exactly the same thing. The problem we have with the UN, it's very important to have a UN, a multilateral, so-called, right now, so-called multilateral organization. Otherwise, we are going directly to the law of jungle. But I think what is going on right now, it's absolutely not in favor of people, of sovereignty, of self-determination for people, and on dignity and equality. And it is absolutely the contrary, because they said everybody is equal. They have dignity, they're entitled to dignity, and we have to not leave anyone behind. But as we see, everyone is absolutely behind, and even worse. And they said, okay, we have the UN for not again have a war, and the world is full of wars, and also non-legitimate war, because there is some very important article in the Charter of the UN saying there is no right for state to make war, except, and it is the Article 2, paragraph 4 of the Charter, except saying the Article 52, except if we are attacked by another state. And US, France are in war with country, and this country did not attack France, US, and other occidental country. It's absolutely the contrary. That's why, for me right now, the UN is absolutely the best example of the concept of paradoxes.
Yes, I mean, I could imagine it must have been tough. That's why I wanted to ask you about it.
And also, if I may, Kalonji, if I may, this working group, the working group for people of African descent, were decided after the Durban 2001 conference, and it was in the plan, the declaration and the plan of action of Durban, and the group was set up, and it was to study the consequences of the history of the enslavement, the history of enslavement and the discovery from 1492, and also on colonization, and to find solution to get equality to everybody and to dignity. And it was not that. It was not really what it was done. It just it's also the way the UN is using paradoxes to say something, and we of course we agree with this, but to do something totally different.
Right. And
I have a good example. In the Durban Declaration, they mention the term reparation, and reparation is a very important term because there is no other way to change the paradigm of domination and structural racism without reparation. And when I say reparation, I mention political reparation, not individual, absolutely not individual, but political. And then when they have the General Assembly in 2040 has decided a decade for people of African descent. And they asked to the working group to think about the slogan of the element of recognition for this decade. And we suggest reparation, justice, development. And because we use the term reparation as it is mentioned in the DDPA, but the state representative was absolutely against, and very violently, and specifically the Occidental country, of course, Europe and France and US, and they said no way for reparation.
Wow.
And although if you maintain, there is no more decade, okay? And we change, of course. I remember with one of my colleagues from Jamaica, we changed the term, and we suggest recognition. But, and they said, okay, of course, recognition. And after that, I was thinking, and I say, we made a mistake. Recognition is not what we need.
Right.
We need dignity. Because recognition suppose recognition is given to you. Recognition is given to you by those who dominate you.
That's right.
And they choose the way they will give you recognition. And it's supposed to you to be still soumis. How did you say? Soumis.
Submissive. Submissive?
No. I'm sorry.
Yes, subordinate.
Subordinate.
Okay. Right.
It's supposed to you to be always subordinate to what want the dominant. And in fact, the dominant are the white people.
Right.
And if you are African descent, you have to answer to what the white people want. And therefore you will be recognized. But it is absolutely the way, it is a liberal way to approach structural racism. And now I am absolutely opposed to recognition, and I wrote a text for the UN, but I think I sent to the working group and to the anti-discrimination unit, but I'm sure they did not use it, and they put it in the garbage. Because it's something they refuse. They refuse. It's not they can't understand. They refuse to understand. What does it mean to ask recognition rather than reparation?
Right.
Because what it is right now, we need reparation, because what it was done during from the 92 until now, almost until now, it's they commit genocide with indigenous people, and then they committed also with African. They committed crimes against humanity, and they change. And the most important thing is to understand with enslavement and colonization, they change the sense of humanity. It means the humanity was never the same than before enslavement and colonization.
Right.
Because they impose certain things. They impose Christianity all over the world. They try to impose Christianity. And second, they impose the racialization, the use of race as a political means to hierarchize humanity. And with reparation, it is what we want see change, reverse, in order to not think humanity through hierarchization, but humanity as by human, and it means alterity, intersubjectivity, and sense of the other, and they destroy absolutely all these concepts.
Right.
And you can see that now when it is decided by certain states to bring war in other countries, like Iraq, Afghanistan, or Palestine, or also when they decide sanction against Venezuela, Cuba, and other countries, they did not consider the other as human. They consider them as subhuman.
Right.
And therefore, they are entitled to impose war everywhere. But it is also true in our country, in our Occidental country, where the poor people and the racialized people are always at the border of the humanity. And we have also another example with migrants. And and these Occidental countries have no other understanding of what does it mean to be migrants than to build wall. To build wall, and the first, and it's very interesting to think how from 40 what they call the Great Discovery, and in fact it was not Great Discovery, it was a metaphysical and demographic disaster, catastrophe for humanity. Right. And how this paradigm put in place at the moment is still there, but with a variation and different intensity, depending on the situation and the place where it is. But it is exactly the same paradigm. That's why we claim for reparation, for political reparation, to change the sense of humanity.
That's right. That's definitely the point. So basically, the working group was more like a pacification program. It was something it was pretend, like Paper Tiger.
It says it's like a farce, like pretending. It's a paper tiger. It's not a real solution. What they're proposing.
Oh no! It's not. It's just we have in French. We have an expression. I don't know how to translate it, but it's like mettre un cotteur sur une jambe de bois. It means to put something. You have wood leg. And you can't walk without your wood leg, but to make that easier and less difficult for the person, we just put something on like that. But it does not change anything. You can have a perfume or what you want. It doesn't change the reality.
Right.
And, no, they don't. But what it is interesting, it's because if I'll not try to explain more deeply. It's not just a question of this, but also of race. Is not only the question of race, because if the so construct concept of race was built, it's just to be sure that the capitalist system will be based on a very, very strong determination. And for that, they need to find the way to exploit some people and to prove human being can be sold, vendu,
valued.
Sold. And it is what the code, the Black Code, if you remember, the Black Code said in Article 42. I think they said the enslaved person are furniture, are just furniture, and that is why we are thinking we said there is people, human being, the white people and the people who have some power to dominate, and the non-being people, those who are dominated. And inside this class of non-being, of course, you have also hierarchy. And the black people and indigenous and Arabs are at the bottom of this hierarchy. And that's why, and the capitalist system needs that to grow up and to be sure to always dominate the system, to always be the dominant of the system. And I understand it's very easy to understand if we really change the paradigm of domination, all these Occidental and white persons will be are afraid to see their dominance lost, and they don't want that. And that's why they are absolutely very strong with their domination system. And even they use, for example, it's very interesting with what happened with the COVID, with the pandemic. It is I don't know in US, but in France, for example, it is the moment where the government has decided certain privation of liberty, private and public liberty, and also they have decided to stop certain associations working on against Islamophobia, and they have decided this organization are doing violent job or making trouble the government, and there is no Islamophobia in France, and what blah blah blah. It's also very interesting how they use this pandemic to put in place certain way to more control the people, with the ban of travel, for example. But also it says, if you see there is something relatively interesting to see with the enslavement and the Black Code. There is the legal aspect to control certain population with the way the police is acting against Black people in different countries, and the use of mass incarceration, the use also, we have to think about what does it mean to have such extension of drug in certain country. Is not it a way to more control the people? And then you have a long period with liberal, so-called democratic liberal, but not so against the people. And from 1974, for the first petrol crisis, there is some things coming out, trying to more control the people. And then in 2001, the Patriot Act for you and for us, law against terrorism, security law, and whatever, blah, 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 blah. Lot of so-called legal instrument, because in fact it's not legal because it's violating such international
laws and human rights.
Human rights or declaration. And then with the pandemic, you see, you try to control a group coming from abroad, from the 50th century, and to control these people even after abolition, because you not consider them as fully citizen, but you consider them as a non-being, absolutely non-being.
Three-fifths, yeah. No, I said 3/5 human, like as a not full human.
Subhuman, not human, subhuman.
Right.
Then you put in place some legal instrument, and then with the pandemic, you add a new level. It's to control the people individually. Before it was as a group, and now is individually. And we have to ask ourselves what will be the next step. Because and what it is interesting, if we are really thinking about where is the capitalist system, it's to understand the capitalist system is not in a good health. Even if during the pandemic, the bank and the financial system got a lot of gain. We can see the I don't remember.
Yeah,
the Nasdaq and other. It's unbelievable. The people are suffering. All the world is under attack, not attack, but bracket under pandemic, and they don't. And this system did not find the way to stop the pandemic. It's more complicated, and the financial system is going up and up and up and up. It's absolutely unbelievable. But the people are not going up and up; they are going down and down. And of course, this capitalist system is not ready to abandon their advantage, and they need to control the people and control more and more, because they don't want to see people riot in the street. They don't want to see people demonstrate or occupation or whatever. And they prefer to consider the people as enemy. It is the consequences of that. All of us are considered as enemies, and it is really something we have to pay attention and to see how we can avoid them to go further, because I don't know where we are going, but they build the chaos. They build the chaos, and when we say there is other way to do, they don't agree. And one of the the best example is the fight against racism. If we want fight against racism and structural racism, therefore we need to say structural racism and not racial discrimination. It's not racial discrimination. Right. It is structural racism. Because when we say racial discrimination, it's just person to person.
Right.
One person to another person. And it's not that. It is a system. And if they refuse to see structural racism as a system. And we need to point and to underline and repeat. It is a system. And we need to find solution to force them to fight the system, the capitalist and racialized system, and not to fight individual.
Right. Because
the individual are just the porte-voix, the echo of the capitalist system.
Right.
And we need to work very strongly and to not leave any space for them to say it's just a racial discrimination. And that's why also that is one of the reasons I was so upset with the working group, because there is no, even at the level of the use of certain word or certain concept,
Right.
They use certain racial discrimination, and when you say no, it's not racial discrimination, it's a structural racism. No, you just we have a. You see, we can make a campaign, an international campaign, and I have one. I was there at one. I was so upset, and it was a shame on me to be there because they said we can organize around hand by hand all around the world against racism, and we are against racism. It's so stupid. It's not that, but it's just the way. It's just the way for the state to not assume their responsibility, and I think we have to be very careful about that, and to not be the echo of their liberal and capitalistic approach of what it is structural racism, linking, of course, race and capitalism. It's absolutely imbricated, and we can't fight against one without fight against another one. Right. That's the problem, and we need to make this this imbrication, and it's impossible to fight. And when I speak with certain person fighting capitalism, I said you are fighting just for white people.
Right.
You need to include in your fight the fight against structural racism.
Right on. Now I know that you spoke about reparations and you spoke about structural racism. You were recently a part of an international tribunal, the Spirit of Mandela. Can you speak to the recent tribunal, and what role did you play in it?
I play a very small role, because unfortunately I can't get in US, and therefore I was in my home, and we have some technical issue, and I lost some testimonies, but that's all about the tribunal. But it's important to have such tribunal, because we have now to work on the sentence. There was a press release saying the US were guilty of genocide against Indians and African American, and there is a testimony from different perspectives. Else, I don't remember. My God, sorry.
No, sorry.
What are you trying to say?
No, else prison.
Political prisoners.
Yeah, political prisoner, war prisoner, environmental, and I don't remember. Sorry.
Excessive
use of force by the police. Okay. But the police is a state police, and therefore it is a state. It's not only the police; it is a state.
Right. So I know that you also did a lot of work. You've been seriously involved in the campaign to free Mumia. Mm-hmm. How did you get involved in fighting for the rights of Mumia? I just mentioned I interviewed him a few days ago. He's doing very well, but I know that the first time I saw you was at a rally, which was for his 50th birthday, which I believe he's 67, 68 now. Wow. But
time ago.
Yeah, it was a little while. I had a little bit less gray hairs. But I wanted to know, like, what got you into the fight for Mumia? Because I know you fight for rights internationally, but what got you into Mumia's campaign?
I have to say something. It was in Paris at the moment, and I know the case of Mumia, but I was not involved because I have some family issue at the moment. It was the moment where my husband died. But I used to meet Julia Wright during some demonstration, not only for Mumia, but against racism, against violation of certain violation. She insists, and then it's like that. I was involved from 1994, I think, something like that. And I was involved, and I visit Mumia, and I was really impressed by his mental strength, and also I was really, because we are so stupid sometimes in the life when we are coming from Paris and to visit someone in prison in US. We are not expecting what we have go through, because when we visit someone in France, it's a little bit is softer, or if I may. But in US, the US prison is really inhuman, and we go back to what we said before. It's people as a prisoner are considered as a non-being, and specifically when they are Black. And I was a little bit depressed when I arrived to meet Mumia, and then it was him giving me energy, and I was revigorated by his analysis, and I was so impressed to see this person in a solitary, because at the moment he was in solitary confinement, right. And with a so good analysis of what happened outside, and even sometimes he knows better than me certain situation. I was so impressed. I say, oh, okay, please stop to complain. You are out, and you have to do what you have to do, because it's our duty to work for the freedom of those who were working for the voiceless and in jail without any evidence, and with biased trial and a racist trial. But it's not the only one. There is, like, around the world, there is like that some people very, very important for the others. And Mumia, I think, is the most impressive personality, because also he took the time to write books for the people, and the different book he wrote titled Murder.
Murder Incorporated.
Murder Incorporated are really, I don't read all because it is in English and it's complicated to read. Always in English, and it's a huge book. Every of them, it's almost 500 pages. Wow. But no. 3 volumes, and I think it's something really complete and giving to us a very clear vision of what is going on, and also the way to better understand by his analysis. It's a specific analysis to see how the empire is working on, and how and also some perspective to try to open the window, even if the window is very teeny, but to open the window. And it is what we have to do. The only thing we have to do is to open the window and to continue to give hope to the people who are not only inside in jail, but who are outside, and asking what we can do. We don't have to stay home and waiting the chaos. We have to fight against the chaos, and we have to fight for reparation. And I think it's one of the most important things we have to do, because it's not only reparation for what it was done from the 15th centuries, but it is also reparation for colonization, reparation for colonialism, and we have to free the people, who are until now were under controversial domination.
Right. I heard. I was told that Mumia has a street in Saint Denis, France, and they said you were involved about that. Can you tell us about this street? Because we all need to move to that street. What's going on with that?
At the moment, I was. How did you say? I was working at the National Assembly with as a I don't know, what did you say, as a collaborator? How did you say?
Yeah,
as a collaborator to a deputy from a Communist Party. And as I know pretty well the situation of Mumia, I suggest to him to do, and at the moment he was also mayor of Saint-Denis. But I begin when he was mayor of Saint-Denis, and then he left as a mayor, he left. And therefore I continue to push on him to say, okay, you have to do something. And the next mayor decided to name this one street of Saint-Denis Mumia Abu Jamal. And it was not really a difficult fight, because at the beginning Patrick Brouwezek agreed to do that, but it was long because, as you know, there is a lot of administrative question. It has to be voted by the council of the municipality, and it was not so easy. But at the end, they succeed, and now Mumia has his name as a street name. It's good, but it's good because the people, of course, know more about him. But now, I don't know, it was 10 years or more than 10 years.
12 years ago.
12 years ago. I don't think the people know more about Mumia. That because it's common now. And for me, it's not the fight for a name, a street. It's good, but not really good, because it's just the name of the street.
Right.
If the people are not aware about what is exactly the situation of Mumia, they just say, okay, I'm living in the Mumia, I'm staying in the Mumia Abu Jamal street, and the people could ask, but who is Mumia Abu Jamal? And they never know who is Mumia Abu Jamal.
But you remember what kind of threat it was to the United States government.
Yes, but no. What I try to say is not enough to have such a fight, and for me, it's not really. It's good, but I think the most important thing is to continue to fight for freedom, liberation, and freedom of people incarcerated without any evidence, and without fair trial. And we have to fight for this change of paradigm, because it will avoid these dominant people to use to use justice in their favor and not in the favor of the law.
Right.
Not in the name of the law. Therefore, I think the most important thing to move for Mumia, but also for other political prisoners, as we have one in France, Georges Ibrahim Abdallah, it's to continue to support them and to fight against what they call to fight against structural racism, and also to fight against
imperialism.
Their will to consider the people as terrorists, and it is a new way now to fight. It's not they don't not anymore. They will do war. They will install war inside other country, because the price to pay is very heavy, as we have seen without success, as we have seen in Iraq and in Afghanistan, but also what we could see in Mali right now, because the Malian people ask for the departure of the French army, because the French army is there without any decision of the Security Council, even if they got some agreement after, and as it was done for Libya. As we can see, what is the situation in Libya? It's absolutely terrible. They destroy all the state, and they destroy all the country, and all the people. And I think the most important thing is to continue, as you mentioned, to continue to fight against imperialism, but in different ways. And that's why even when there is a city, French city, wanting to vote for a decision to give the name of of one street in Bordeaux. And Bordeaux, I don't know if you know, but Bordeaux is in the southwest of France, and it was Négrier. It was a port where enslaved people arrived. Also, it was not really a port, but it was a place where the enslaved arrived and were sold. And they suggest to have a street with Fanon name, and I said, no way. First, the structural racism has to be solved in our country, and as soon it is solved, we could see for a Fanon street, with a street with the name of Frantz Fanon, because it's exactly the same thing. It's how the liberal system use certain figure to show their goodwill to change, but in fact
Symbolism. Empty symbolism.
So they dirty.
Ça les conforte. They are confirmed in their. Okay, we give them. They are confirmed in their will to continue to impose their superiority and their white supremacy. That is why we have to be very careful with if we decide to give a name or not. Of course, in the case of Mumia, there is something. I have something to add. At the moment, there is a fight with Philadelphia or with the organization on Fraternal Order of Police, because they were absolutely against this nomination, and it was at the political level. This decision was put at the political level, and even they asked to the Saint-Denis Council to revoke this decision. But Saint-Denis, and they try to put pressure on the new mayor, and he resists. And it is in this aspect it is positive, but for me, it's important to not consider it is sufficient to have a name street, rather than to continue the fight until we win.
That's right.
Until, for in the case of Mumia, is until his release, and the first step will be a new trial, but really until his release, and also because, and also if I can add something, I was also very impressed by Mumia, by how he take in consideration and he take care of the situation of the other, and he never asks something for himself, but he asked for the other. Through his case, he asked for the other, and I think he has something in form of empathy, but it is even more that it's for a sort of I don't know.
Self-sacrifice?
Selflessness.
No, it's not sacrifice, because it's political level. It's not sacrifice. No, absolutely not.
Right.
But,
Selflessness.
Selfless.
Like.
Yes. He has something I mentioned before. He has the sense of otherness. He has the sense of alterity.
The others.
He has the sense of alterity.
I know.
And that it is exactly what we want to see achieve with reparation. And in certain sense, Mumia has repaired in his mind and in his behavior what the violation made by the US state. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
Okay, is it clear?
Yeah, I think so.
You're absolutely clear. So it's crazy. You're telling me that so the Philadelphia Fraternal Order of Police, the police union themselves, tried to pressure the French government to stop this street. I mean, they went that far. That's amazing. Can you?
It is just the sense. When you think you are the center of the world, you can do what you want, and you can deal if you are just a syndicate, because it's just a syndicate. The Fraternal Order of Police is just a syndicate of police, even it is right wing. But they think they can deal with the state because they consider themselves as at the same level than the state, and specifically as the French state, because the French state is just, if I may say, the poodle of the US.
Right on. Yes. Man, that's a lot. Tell us about the you founded the Frantz Fanon Foundation. Can you tell us what is the objective of the foundation and what made you bring on the Frantz Fanon Foundation?
Again, it was not my own decision, because I think it was not the best person to do that. But it was under pressure of certain person, and at the end, I accept to do it. And our objective is to continue not the work of Frantz Fanon, as he is not here anymore. We can't continue, but continue through his thinking to work on certain important point against structural racism, because his analyses are very helpful to understand how the racism is working, and how he also working and used by, and also because he was, and more I work on I found Fanon was not only an anti-colonialist, as it was as he take the decision to be part of the Algerian liberation movement, but he is also one of the first person to think in terms of decoloniality. Means decoloniality of power, decoloniality of being, and particularly as a psychiatrist, he was thinking on decoloniality of being. And I think this way is not very often underlined, but it is the main thing that help us to better understand how the non-being are treated and what has to be done to change this division of the hierarchy in humanity. And when he called, for example, un homme neuf, a new man, is not a new man who will be liberated only from colonialism, but freed also from coloniality. It means the power could not use its domination to decide itself what it has to be done for the life of the people. And it is exactly what we endure now. We don't have any decision on our life in terms of different education, health, environment. What else?
Education.
Also education, health, environment, and even they decide for us what is right in terms of liberty or not, of human rights or not, and that is why his work is so important, and it reminds us we can't liberate the people just by saying the country is free from colonization. If you continue to impose to your people the model, the Eurocentric model, as it is done specifically in Latin America and in Africa, the people they are freed from colonialism, but they are not freed from colonial and colonialist ideology. And you continue to maintain them and to consider them as a non-being. And when you open your borders to the transnational, for example, for plumbing the natural resources, you act as a president or as a government of a country. You act as a colonial power, and you impose poverty to your people and to the killing, etc., etc. And it is what Fanon opens this door. It's not sufficient to be freed and to get self-determination, so-called self-determination, of course. You have to emancipate the people. You have to emancipate the people. And it is what we have to do now. It's to get emancipation. We don't have emancipation. Even us from Occidental country, we don't have emancipation. We are just free, but not emancipated. We are not emancipated from the capitalist system. We are still the servant of this capitalist system.
Right. I have one more question for you because I know you have to go, and we are absolutely.
Yes. And my friend Susan need to sleep.
Well, tell your friend we are absolutely grateful. I'm just going to hit you with this one question, and I'm gonna leave it alone. And thank you so much for coming on. I want to ask you just last, like, how difficult has it been, because of the fact that, we recognize you as your own person, we recognize your work. It's been beautiful work that you have added to humanity. So thank you for that. But I wanted to know, it's a two-part short question. One, how difficult has it been being the daughter of Frantz Fanon? And also, is there one particular publication that you can identify yourself with? If there's something, any particular work that you can say, okay, boom, this inspires me, or I can identify with.
S'il y a un livre, if
First,
there is a book,
how difficult has it been?
no.
Fanon's daughter. And the second is there one book that he's written that you identify with yourself in particular?
Okay. No. I could not say it is difficult. It is it's difficult to understand. But I did not feel it was difficult. No, it's maybe more difficult when I am in Martinique than in Europe or other place in the world. So people ask me, "Oh, you are?" Yes, I am. Could I have a photo with you? Blah blah blah. It's not really. It's not really. I never get bad feeling of that. No. It's I'm more proud to be, but I used to say, okay, everybody needs father, and by history, biologic father, but by history and meeting, he is my father. It's by Azar, but he is my father, and but I succeed. I think I don't know if I'm right, but I succeed to divide my personal life and my more public life. And for me, my father is my father, and Frantz Fanon is someone else. And it's not really a problem, really. I never feel uncomfortable. So regarding the second question, is maybe the sociology of Algerian Revolution, and certain chapter of Wretched of the Earth, and certain quotes in black skin, white masks. It's not only one. It's a
few.
Yeah, it was a few, and I discover Fanon when I was 15, because his book were in my mother's home. And I read it at the moment, and I understand pretty nothing. And then I read it again later, and now, as there is a Frantz Fanon Foundation, I used to read part of certain book times 2 times, and I discover new input, new analysis, new knowledge, and I say, my God, how it's possible? This person is dead since so long time.
Right. It's going on 60 years, right?
Yeah, on the 6th December, next 6th December, it will be 60, yes.
The day after my birthday, yes.
Okay. And it's very, very, there is something absolutely, for me, unbelievable to die so early and to have so huge impact long time ago after your death. It's something very strange.
Yes.
And but I have this, and when I say that, it's not because he's my father, it's because he is a writer of different important books.
Yes.
I make the difference.
Well, I have to say to you that your father, even though he's not my father, he's impacted me heavily. The Wretched of the Earth is probably my favorite book. Mm-hmm. That and the Battle of Algiers, it was kind of like a soundtrack to me for the book itself. And I definitely, you know, I just, again, I interviewed Juliana Lumumba recently. And I found it interesting that they both was 36 years old when they died.
Yeah.
Yes, and absolutely. It was the same year. Like,
and it was also the case of Mehdi Ben Barka.
Yes.
In Paris, Moroccan activist, very strong.
Yes.
Was also 36.
Well, listen, I appreciate you coming on, and we wish you the best. We will put your the link to the foundation in we will definitely post it with the video. Again, thank you, and thank your friends for holding us up. Thank Suzanne for being the official translator and technician.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Right on.
Come here, Suzanne. Come here.
Yes, Suzanne, thank you so much for your heavy duty work.
Well, I tell you, let me make a comment. As someone who's known Mireille for a long time, this was the most developed interview I have heard with her, because she's, you know, in these rallies and so on, you often get 10 minutes to speak. To have this length of time to develop your thinking and to present them in that way is invaluable. As an organizer, I really appreciate that you allowed that kind of time, and it brought out the very, very best of Mireille.
Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much. For those of you, so for those of you that don't know Suzanne is, I don't want to tell her age, but she's
she's younger than me.
Yeah, she's younger than all of us, but she's a serious worker. So definitely thank you, Suzanne and Pam Africa, for helping to make this happen. Mireille, I'm going to let you go. Call on me if you need anything. We appreciate you. Revolutionary love. Continue the good work and the continued good fight. Please,
if any case you have another interview with Mumia, could you give him my strong, best, warm regards, and thank you for his work and thank you for his writing. Yes. Could you tell him that?
Hey, it's done. I'm
good.
Gonna write it on my palm so I won't forget and don't wash my hand until I do it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes. Be safe. Thank you. Bye-bye. You've been checking out Riot Starter TV. That was Mireille Fanon. Man, serious worker, as you can tell. Mireille Fanon Mendès-France. You know, we're grateful, definitely happy to have her on. Make sure you tune in to Black Power Media. If it's your first time coming on, make sure you come back and check us out. Subscribe to our channel, and we appreciate your work. This is Riot Starter TV, and we signing out. Ready for revolution.